Hello, everybody, and good morning to everyone that's here today with Premier Ford. It's great to be here for this very exciting announcement on the Ontario Line site. This is a very ambitious project that wouldn't be possible without the support of our municipal partners at the City of Toronto. So I'm going to keep it short right off the bat and hand it over to the Mayor to get us started today. Thank you. Mayor Chow.
Thank you, Minister. What a beautiful morning. It's great to join Premier Ford, Minister Sarkaria, and Minister Fragiskatos, all three levels of government coming together. We are working for the people of Toronto, and people in Toronto need more transit options to get to work, to school, run errands, see their loved ones. And we're always striving to make TTC more reliable, affordable, safe, convenient. And that's why I have announced increased service level, so you don't have to wait so long for the bus to come, for the subway to come. We've hired many more staff in stations to make sure it's safe. And we have frozen fares. No TTC fare increase, so we can keep it affordable. Through our strong partnership with the provincial and the federal government, we can do even more to help commuters. The Ontario Line will transform our city. It stretches across Toronto, connecting different neighborhoods like Thorncliffe Park, Flemington Park, the Distillery District, the one over down in Osgoode Hall, all of connected through and have better access to downtown and through everywhere. 15 stations running from Exhibition Place to Don Mills and Eglinton, more than 40 connections to other subways, bus, streetcars, and regional train services. It will take tens of thousands of cars off the road every day while getting people where they need to go fast. In fact, it would impact on 230,000 people. Imagine that when Ontario Line gets open. It's no secret that congestion is a challenge in our vibrant and growing city. And the best way to tackle congestion is to invest in more transit, which is why I am so grateful for the federal and the provincial government in their contribution, which is exactly what's happening here in Ontario Line. I cannot wait to see how much easier and faster it is to get around the city when the subway stations are completed and open. And thank you, Premier, and all the ministers that are here, MP Fragiskatos, and thank you so much. And partnership with your government is yielding results for the people of Toronto.
There you go, Mayor. Thank you very much, Mayor Chow. The fact is that we're going to build these transformational projects like the Ontario Line. We all need to work together to do so. And we need our federal partners at the table today, and that is why it's my pleasure to hand it over to MP Peter Fragiskatos, the Parliamentary Secretary, to Sean Fraser, the Minister of Housing, Infrastructure, and Communities. Thank you.
Well, good morning, everyone. Wonderful to be here on behalf of Minister Fraser and the Government of Canada writ large for a really transformational project. You just heard Minister Sarkaria use that word. And Minister, thank you very much for your leadership on this. Mayor, thank you very much as well, working together. And Premier, certainly the leadership that you've shown, certainly across Ontario on these kinds of projects, working with our government and various municipal leaders as well, is really something that needs to be held up and an example for many. I would be remiss also, Premier, if I didn't thank you for the work that's happening in London, provincial and federal partnership down there, made it possible by people like Rob Flack, my very good friend. We talked about him earlier, but it's people like Rob that get into elected office for really good reasons and do great things. And we're going to continue working together in London for the benefit of our communities, particularly on the infrastructure and housing side. But today's project is a $4 billion investment on the part of the federal government for a very good reason. We want to make sure that people have options. We want to make sure that commuters have an affordable situation. It's not always easy to get around in a car, and so and there's nothing wrong with that if you want to drive, of course, but if there's an option available through the Ontario line, could make things much, much easier, and there's environmental benefits as well, lowering carbon emissions. But what I'm especially excited about is the fact that there's going to be housing built along the line, making sure that there's more options from that perspective for everyday people. I want to make sure that density, and the federal government and Minister Fraser has emphasized this throughout, there's density as a focus, and Mayor Chow and Premier, both of you have understood very well with your municipal backgrounds, obviously as mayor and former councillor, the critical situation that we're facing from a housing perspective. So if we can bring the two together, on the infrastructure side, the transportation side, and the housing side, we can make sure that people have, as I said before, options. Options is really the key thing here. And so working together as we have through this investment, but others that will continue to contribute to, is something that I'm quite excited about. So truly appreciate the invitation. All the very best with this. Great to see the work happening. And to the workers behind us, you make this happen every day. You get up early, spend time away from your friends and family. That counts for a lot, and we can't thank you enough. Truly appreciate it. All the best.
Thanks, Peter. Thanks. Way to go.
Thank you very much, Peter. It's great to be here with some of my colleagues as well, MPP David Smith and Christine Hogarth as well, as we celebrate another major milestone in our historic expansion of public transit, alongside some of the organizations and men and women who are critical to building Ontario. As Toronto's population continues to grow, we must invest the future of this world-class city. Premier Ford and our government has a plan to build the roads, highways, tunnels, and subways we need to keep Ontarians moving. We know fast, reliable, and affordable public transit is key to our economy and key to the quality of life of our communities. Public transit helps attract world-class companies who bring with them countless well-paying jobs. Millions of Ontarians rely on public transit every day to go to work, visit friends, find life-changing opportunities, and so much more. That is why we are overseeing the largest expansion in North America to build transit that will serve our province for generations to come. From the Eglinton West Crosstown extension, which will connect the city from Scarborough to Mississauga, the Finch West LRT cutting travel times in half in the northwest part of the city, or the Hazel-Mulcallion line extension into downtown Brampton and Mississauga. While other parties say no to new subways, roads, tunnels, and highways, our government will never stop building. With that, I have the pleasure to turn it over to my friend, Premier Doug Ford. Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Prav, for that very kind introduction. And I'm thrilled to be back here in beautiful East York alongside Minister Sarkaria and two great MPPs, Christine Hogarth from the great state of Etobicoke and David Smith from the great state of Scarborough. So East meets West, as you say. Before I get started, I want to acknowledge and welcome Parliamentary Secretary Peter Fragiskatos. I owe you lunch. I've been practicing the whole time, all the way here. Fragiskatos. There you go. And, of course, my good friend, Mayor Olivia Chow, as well as Nadia from the Residential and Civil Construction Alliance of Ontario, and representatives from the Ontario Public Transit Association and Toronto Region Board of Trade. Thank you all for joining us. And of course, I want to thank the Metrolinx project team, Zachary and Michael from the Leaside Valley Builders, and all the workers for having us here today. As Premier, nothing makes me more prouder than to visit construction sites like this one, to see shovels in the ground, building critical transportation infrastructure. And friends, the progress that we're making here is so important to tackle gridlock and keep people and goods moving. Because as everyone here knows, Toronto is one of the fastest growing cities in North America. This region alone generates 50% of Ontario's GDP. The cranes in the sky tell the story, and I hear it from our visitors every time they come here. According to the latest crane index, Toronto has approximately 221 construction cranes for commercial, residential, and mixed-use projects. That's more than all U.S. major cities combined. That's why we need to build more transit to keep people moving. Unlike previous governments that only talked about building, we're getting it done. We've embarked on the largest transit expansion in North America and in Canadian history, with nearly $70 billion in new money. We're expanding GO train service across the GTA. And here in Toronto, we're making tremendous progress on the Scarborough Subway extension, the Yonge North Subway extension into York Region, the Eglinton Crosstown West extension, and the Ontario line. And today, I'm thrilled to announce that work has begun just steps away from here to build the Don Valley Crossing Bridge and the West Don Crossing Bridge. These bridges will carry Ontario line trains across the Don Valley toward the downtown core, cutting transit times in half for families and workers across the line. This final contract means that construction is now underway along the entire Ontario line. This is a huge milestone for this new subway line, a huge milestone for the hundreds of thousands of riders who will use it each and every day. Friends, we're doing whatever we can to get people to where they need to be faster. We're investing more than $28 billion on new roads and highways. We're widening sections of the 401. We're building Highway 413 and the Bradford Bypass, expanding Highway 3 in southwestern Ontario, and building 1117, not to mention Highway 400, the QEW. Everywhere you go, you're seeing construction, and that's a good thing. And just last week, we announced that we're looking into the construction of a new driver and transit tunnel expressway under Highway 401. But it doesn't stop there. In 2022, we permanently increased the speed limit from 100 kilometers to 110 kilometers on 6 sections of provincial highways across Ontario. Earlier this year, we raised the speed limit on 10 additional sections of 400 series highways. And today, I've directed the minister to raise the speed limit to 110 kilometers on all 400 series highways where it is safe to do so. I'm going to repeat that, where it is safe to do so. We're leaving no stone unturned to help fight gridlock on our roads, reduce travel times, and allow people to spend less time commuting and more time at home with their families. And that includes the Ontario line, which is going to be a game changer for Toronto and the entire region. Again, thank you all for joining us today, and may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you.
We will now open the floor for questions from the media. Please come to the mic and state your name and outlet. Just a reminder, the format today is 1 question and 1 follow-up. First question.
Hi, Premier. Alison Jones of the Canadian Press.
Hi, Alison.
The Ministry of Education expects teacher shortages to get worse starting in 2027. Knowing that, what is your government doing to prepare?
Well, in total, since we've been in office, we've hired 7,500 educators and EAs, teachers' assistants, I should say. And what we've seen, the population of students have stayed steady as we've increased more teachers, and that's fine. We'll reduce the classroom size, but as long as we see an increase in population and students, then we'll go hand in hand and increase more educators. The educators in this province, teachers, they do an incredible job. I appreciate everything they do. I always say when I see them, I couldn't do their job. It can be challenging at times, and we just appreciate everything they do for the future of this province.
And on another topic, I'm hoping both you and the mayor could answer this one. I believe we're coming up on 1 year since you signed your new deal pretty soon. Are you able to give us any updates on where you're at in terms of negotiations on the Ontario Place parking lot, perhaps moving it to Exhibition Place, and any talks about future uses for the old Science Centre home?
Yeah, so, first of all, the mayor and I have an incredible relationship. If she needs something, she'll call me. If I need something, I call her. We get back to each other promptly, and we just work in tandem together. And I'm very grateful for our relationship. And as for Ontario Place and the parking and that, and Ontario Science Centre, we're going to work together. We're coming up with different ideas to make sure that we work collaboratively together, and it works for Ontario Place and works for the city and everyone around. So I look forward to continuing working with the mayor. She's doing a great job.
Very grateful for the new deal, and thank you for reminding me that was last year, and we're seeing the impact in the city as the Garner and the DVP uploading begin. We are able to have more funding. So, for example, $500 million is now going to TDC to keep everything running in a state of good repair, and not just the capital side, but also in helping to operate it, especially when the LRTs are open. So in all of our infrastructure, because it's quite old, whether it's potholes or community centers, libraries, things that are old, we're able now to patch it because of the upload of the Garner and TVP. So impact that way. You asked specifically about the parking lot. I'm working very closely with Minister Kinga Sharma, and we just had a sit-down conversation where we had the map out as to where's the entrance, where is it, above ground, below ground, etc. So all of that parking in terms of being in the CNE is being discussed right now. We don't have all the final details yet because it's complex, but the conversation in terms of how we could cooperate together is ongoing. Does that give you enough? Yeah. Okay. Say that again. The Science Centre, it's really up to the province. It's the Science Centre, as you know, is closed. The city, we are talking to the neighborhoods area as to what kind of science-based local program. We have asked the local Councillor John Burnside, to talk to some of the neighbors in the area. But that doesn't really deal with the Ontario Science Centre per se. That you need to ask the minister. Okay, thank you.
Hi, it's Chris Rochelle from the Toronto Star.
Hi, Chris.
Premier, last week you spoke about wanting to clear out the encampments, and I'm just wondering if you and the mayor have spoken about that, and is the province going to step in and help the city? And I don't know, maybe the mayor wants to weigh in on that as well.
Yeah, well, it's a big problem. We got to find homes for these folks as well, and that's our goal, all three levels of government. But I'll tell you, communities across the province, they're beside themselves. I got a call yesterday. There's needles in the park, right beside a play set. There are encampments all over the place. It's unacceptable, and we have to all work together to find them shelter and get them out of the public spaces. You can't be doing that. It's a big problem, not just here in Toronto, but across the entire board. So we'll be continuing to work and find more shelter for these people. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. We have a housing crisis. We also have a growing city. When the city grows in many of its forms, it's hard to find affordable housing for everyone, which is why you see all our shelters are full. We now have 12,000 people in our shelter. Half of them are refugees claimants. So the situation is really difficult, and then you see encampments in big parks, small parks. Especially in small parks, they, in a very small park, they are right beside playgrounds, and it's just really difficult for families and the kids because then they have no room for the kids to play. So we're working hard. Just on Friday, we finally received a letter from both the federal and the provincial, from federal and provincial government on something called Canada-Ontario Housing Benefits. It is a rent supplement. And before the end of March, we've been able to put 300 people and our families per month out of the shelters into regular homes because we supplement their rent a bit because rent is so high. And that program stopped as of April 1st. But right now, as of October, we can start it again, which means that we would be able to start housing more people, take them from the shelter into homes. That is good news. And I am excited about that, which means that we can then make room for people that are living in tents as the winter arrives in a few months, that we can now get them from the encampments into shelters so that they're indoor and not have to endure the outdoor environment. So it's a longer answer, but it's a way that, because we, if we just move them from one place to another place, they just go to another park. And if you look at Grange Park, for example, had tents, and then we were able to house some of the folks. In Allen Garden, for example, we had 80, 90 people in that area. Now there's just a couple of tents. We're able to do what we can. But building affordable housing, having shelters, and having the housing benefits is the solution so that we're able to then take the people from the shelter into homes. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. And Premier, I also wanted to ask you about some stories the Star has written about kids in the care of the Children's Aid Society, and they're being housed in hotels or offices because there aren't beds for kids with complex needs. And I'm just wondering what the province is going to do to address that.
Well, I'll tell you what we've done. Over the last 10 years, you've seen increase of up to $1.7 billion in funding. And we're hearing nightmare stories about the abuse of taxpayers' money. I've heard stories of some of these agencies, they're working in Taj Mahals, they're paying rent $100,000 for rent. The managers are giving themselves a bonus. All those managers are giving yourself a bonus, not worrying about the kids. I'm coming for you. We're doing a complete audit. And if we see funds not being spent properly on the kids, guess what? You're looking for another job. Simple as that. I've heard numerous stories about abuse. So the intake of children in 10 years have gone down 43%. Think of that. It's gone down 43%, and they're running nonstop deficits. Not all, but a lot of them. And we've increased it by $128 million. And it's just unacceptable. But we're going to do a complete audit from top to bottom, and we're going to find out all the waste. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's definitely an abuse of taxpayers' money throughout the whole system there. But we'll get down to the bottom of it. I've asked my minister to start audits immediately across the board, and that's what we're going to do.
Hey, everybody, and hey, Premier. It's Charlie Pinkerton of the Trillium.
Hi, Charlie.
How you doing? I hope you had a good time at the plowing match.
Yeah, I didn't see you. I was trying to throw you in front of the plow when I was plowing, but it never happened.
Oh, it must be my haircut.
Well, last year it was Colin, so you got a sacrifice too.
Yeah, all is fair, Premier, various records of meetings that you've had scheduled, that your top staff have had scheduled, have been with officials from the OLG, as well as representatives from the company that runs the casinos in Niagara Falls. It's my understanding that your government is trying to change the deal of how these are run, so I'm just hoping you explain what it's trying to do with the Niagara Falls casinos.
So Mohegans from the U.S., good operators and everything, but they've had a monopoly down there, and there's a tremendous opportunity with 11 million tourists coming down to Niagara. I've been working with the region along with Mayor Diodati, and just coming up with a different way. It's not all about gambling. It's about a destination. It's about bringing families there. It's an incredible tourist attraction, but we have to clean it up and make it more modern. As I've mentioned to the mayor, the first kilometer, it's all beautiful, but when you get further in, it's not very appealing. So we want to work with them, work with the Mohegans, and come up with an agreement that's going to be fair to everyone, the region, the province, and their organization as well.
And so how many casinos do you want to see in Niagara Falls? And is this just about allowing more competition? And, why is this something your government's trying to do right now?
Well, it's really something that the mayor has been promoting down there for a number of years, and the operators down there as well. I think it's time to modernize. It's beautiful when you go down there. I've been down there endless times. But we just want to modernize it and clean it up and give more opportunities, more economic development, increase tourism. There's a whole market south of the border that would love to have them come up and spend a weekend, spend a week. So we're in the midst of talking to the Mohegans and talking to the mayor in the region to see exactly what they want. I think it'll turn out really well, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Morning, Premier. Richard Southern, 680 News Radio.
Hi, Richard.
Hello. In the wake of your 401 tunnel proposal, some have made mention of the lightly traveled 407 and whether or not it might be better or cheaper for the province to leverage that. My question is, are you at all considering buying back the 407 or paying for trucks to travel on it?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Richard. Everything's on the table right now. The Trucking Association, they understand. They said even if we did that, 407 is going to be at full capacity in another 20 some odd years. So anything and everything is on the table. We'll do the feasibility study. We'll look at the 407 and see exactly which way are we going. We own about 22 kilometers on the far end of the 407. And there's other opportunities along the 407. But I talked to another person. I heard the story that there's a couple that travels out to see their elderly parents and back and forth, and they get a $1,200 bill from the 407. It's costing the taxpayers getting charged about $1.4 billion. So all options are on the table. Maybe both options. Let's see. But we know one thing: it's costing our economy $11 billion a year. It's costing people over 100 hours of sitting in traffic on the 401. You compare us to any other large city in North America, we basically have one route going east and west, and that's the city is growing so quick, the region's going so quick. It's pretty well at capacity now. But 407 will be at capacity in the next 20 years or so. So we got to think down the road, Richard, 20, 30, 40 years, and build something that will last for 50 to 100 years.
I want to ask you as well, sir, about what you just announced today, increasing speed limits on 400 series highways.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's many drivers listening to our station right now wondering about details. Can you specify which highways, which stretches you're looking at? And why you're doing this? Well,
I'll answer, then I'll pass it over to my minister. You look at the 400 series highways, we've increased it in quite a few parts of the province. We want to finish it off at about 110 kilometers. Everyone is going about a $1.10, $1.20 when you're driving down the street, and God forbid you're going the speed limit, be it 100. People are leaning on their horns, trying to get in front of you. But in saying that, I want to emphasize one thing. When I've directed the minister to look at the 400 series highways, I emphasized to him that where it is safe to do. And the experts, our Ministry of Transportation, OPP, they understand where you can go 110 and where you can go 100 kilometers. So safety comes first over anything, and then we'll work on the rest. But wouldn't it be great if we could even get over 50 kilometers an hour on the 401 in rush hour through the city? Like that would be that'd be incredible if we could get over that. So, anyways, over to you, Minister.
Yeah, thank you very much, Premier. We've rolled out the expanded speed limits as late as July of this year as well across the province. So we rolled out an initial pilot in 2019. Everything has come back very positive. We're working with our team of engineers to see, on behalf of the Premier's direction, to continue expanding that. And it's about making sure that those people are on the road that are respecting the laws, that they can get to where they need to go in a faster, easier way. But at the same time, this government has introduced some of the harshest penalties for anybody involved in careless driving, whether it be stunt driving, and also on impaired driving. So we're taking away licenses for life. We're suspending people longer, and it's about making sure we have a balanced approach across the system. But we're going to be making sure that we move forward on the 401 and 400 series highway speed limits as we have in the past, and continue to expand the speed to 110 kilometers across as many stretches as possible. Thank you.
Good morning. This is a question for the Premier and for Mayor as well. It's Chris Glover with CBC News.
Hi, Chris.
Police forces in Toronto and York today are announcing that they're going to have an increased police presence and patrols in communities related to October 7th. And I'd like to get both of your thoughts on the fact that that's needed.
Yeah, I think it's needed, and we always support our police in all regions across Ontario. October 7th was an absolute tragedy. I think everyone in the world wants peace. I want to see, the hostages returned, and everyone wants peace. But I believe that Israel has a right to protect themselves, to protect their people, like any region in the world. And we live in a jurisdiction that I've said 110 nationalities, 200 languages being spoken. Everyone, like 99% of the people, all get along, work together, live in the same communities. It's very disturbing to myself, and I'm sure the mayor and other elected officials when we see, there's a few disagreements to say the least. But we want everything to settle down and be worked out here in Ontario. But again, I thought it was an absolute tragedy, October 7th, and the hostages need to be returned. And terrorist organizations like Hezbollah, I have no time for them. I have all the time in the world for peaceful folks, Palestinian community, as long as they're peaceful, any other community, just peace. But I'm not a fan, to say the least, of a terrorist organization that's killed millions of innocent people, or thousands, I should say, of innocent people.
And Mayor Chow, can we get your thoughts too?
Yes, the police will be visible in communities to keep people safe on this painful and grim anniversary of the attack in Israel and the start of the war. Emotions are high, and some want to mourn, others feel helpless as they see bloodshed continuing. Others said, yes, we need hostage back into their homes. So people would be out gathering to express their emotions. We live in a democratic society, but hate has no place in our society either. So there will be police presence as people gather to mark October 7th.
And Premier, I have another question for you. We're now into October, and Metrolinx has repeatedly said that we'll get a 3-month heads up on when the Eglinton LRT and the Finch LRT, as a result, also will open. So therefore now, given the math of this, can we admit finally that this will not be opening this year? We're looking into 2025. And also, what do you say to people who say that your government has not done enough to hold Metrolinx accountable for this embattled line and all of the delays that people are dealing with?
Yeah, well, first of all, let me talk about Metrolinx. A lot of people want to look at all the negative things, the bumps in the road. And yes, we inherited the nightmare on Eglinton. It's our responsibility. They're getting trained now, the operators. On the Finch LRT, the actual construction is complete and done. I guess there's a discrepancy with some of the contractors, but they're going to start getting trained on the Finch LRT. But let's just go back 6 years ago. You know, we come in, we get elected, and all of a sudden we sit Phil Verster down, the CEO, and you're no longer running the trains. You're going to embark on the largest transit project in North America. We're going to build 33 lines. We're going to double the size of the transit system here in Toronto, GTHA. And oh, by the way, you're going to expand two-way all-day go and into rural areas from Niagara to Kitchener to everywhere else. And all of a sudden a pandemic hits for 2 years. But it's nothing less than short of a miracle that, first of all the hard-working folks behind me and across the province that have been working on this, from putting down an idea on paper a little over 5 years ago, to getting the design, to going out for a worldwide bid, to buy the tunneling machines, to get the tunneling machines in the ground. On Eglinton West, they ended up 4 weeks ahead of time, got the tunneling machines out and over to Scarborough. It's really spectacular. Don't get me wrong, is there bumps in the road when you're doing a multi-billion-dollar project, a $29 billion project? Oh, by the way, Phil, you got to build density around every single subway station and work with all the builders and get them to build all the subway stations. Like, that's not a small task. And I have all the respect for the people at Metrolinx working hard. Again, is there bumps in the road? Absolutely, there's bumps in the roads. But it's nothing short of a miracle how far we've come on transit. We're doing the largest project in North America. So what I understand, I'm going to pass it to my minister. Sure, are we going to hit the next few months? Hopefully we will. If not, it will be in the new year. But my number one concern is we do not want an Ottawa disaster. We push something along and it keeps breaking down. We want to make sure it's safe for the people that are operating the vehicles, and it's safe for the people that are riding them. And it's all right to push it, a couple months faster, and God forbid something happens. No, let's just make sure all the T's are crossed, I's are dotted, and we get a safe operation. But overall, look at the thousands and thousands of workers that bust their backs every single day, and a lot of times 24/7 around the clock. But I'll pass it over to you, Minister.
Thank you very much. And to the Premier's point, we're making a lot of progress on the crosstown. As we've always said, commissioning and testing is a very key part of that. All construction is complete substantially. And this is the most important part about making sure that it's safe and reliable for people to be on it. And so our team is working day and night and working through that progress. We're updating that progress publicly on our trackers and charts as well. And we'll continue to have more to say as that process moves forward. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, Premier. Colin DeMello with Global News. So going back to Metrolinx and Phil Verster, I want to know from you, what is your measure of his success? Starting things is great, but finishing things is obviously even better. What is your measure of success with Phil Verster that you personally hold him accountable with?
Well, we hold him accountable in Metrolinx all the time, but I'm a fan of Phil. I am. The guy, what he has done, and it's not just Phil, it's the senior management team, the frontline workers, collaboration with the federal government, which are great partners, the municipal government, City of Toronto and York Region. And, this is no easy task that we put on his back. And again, I'm first to admit, is there problems? Yeah, there's problems, but we're going to get it done and get it done safely. And it takes a few extra months, extra year. That Eglinton, I'm first to admit, the whole thing from the time the Liberals started, and even when we inherited, they had, what was it, 220 non-conformances, the people that built it. And when they told me 220 non-conformances, they got to straighten it out. I'm not going to put a train on the rails if it's unsafe. The good news is Finch LRT is totally built, completed. All the stations are done. We're in training. And on top of the Eglinton, we're finally ironing out the the wrinkles. Eglinton West is going well. Scarborough's moving forward. The Young North Extension is going well. And this is incredible, the Ontario line. Too bad the cameras can't see, but they're going to put a bridge up there, which is spectacular, all the way across. The engineering feat of some of these projects are really incredible, and I just want to thank all the engineers.
Thank you. So now we're also seeing that the Finch West LRT is, entering into the same phase of the Eglinton Crosstown, where there is a huge contract dispute between the builders, Metrolinx, and the TTC. Yeah. There are some calls for your government to intervene, either tearing up the contracts and starting fresh with a new company, or in some way breaking up that logjam. What is your government doing to ensure that Finch West LRT specifically doesn't follow the same route as Eglinton?
Really good question, Colin. I'll tell you, Eglinton compared to Finch are like night and day. Eglinton's been a real problem, but we're getting that going. And hopefully they're going to sort out their differences, the contractors and Metrolinx. In this size of a project, they need to sit down and make sure they get this resolved as quickly as possible. Need be, and I don't like doing it, at the last resort, we will get involved. I want to make sure that the companies that did the work and employees, they get paid. But I also have to respect the taxpayers' money to make sure that it was done properly, too. So I just encouraging both sides to sit down and work their differences out. We got to get moving on this, and I'm onto it on a daily basis. This poor guy, Prab, he gets calls at midnight from me, 11 o'clock. I'm driving down the highway and I see construction, and if those things aren't digging and moving, he's getting the phone call. I think he tries to run and dodge me a couple times, but I hunt him down. The poor guy.
Hi, Premier. Jeff Gray, Globe and Mail. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Jeff. How are you doing?
Good. I may not look it, but I'm old enough to remember when you cared about the province's debt.
Yes. Yes.
So I talked to the people who build tunnels, like the one you've proposed, based on the prices paid in Seattle and recent amazing projects in Australia. And you're looking at $1 billion for a 16-meter wide tunnel. You might need two of them. You're talking about 55, 60 kilometers. I was told there'd be no math, but that's $120 billion. How do you add that to the province's debt load, already 400 and change, that you were so concerned about not too long ago?
Well, I'm always concerned about the debt, and we're prudent fiscal managers. The rating agencies actually increased our rating rather than decrease it. Because
before the tunnel goes up.
Okay, I know, just hear me out for a second. And what they look at, rating agencies, if we're squandering money or we're putting it in borrowing money. Question. It's a feasibility study. They'll come back and say, okay, if you do 20 kilometers, it's X. If you do 30, it's X, and 40, 50, 60. I don't know if we're going 50 or 60, but let's take a look at the feasibility study. We sit down, we get experts around the table. I've talked to some of the largest unions in the country, tunneling experts, be it LIUNA, and I asked them well before, would it be more feasible to go over top of over top of the highway? And then I talked to one of the largest construction companies that have done a lot of work for us as well. They both came back separately with the same answer. You'd have to shut down the 401 totally if you did, you built on top of it. The maintenance would be a nightmare. Eventually it'd end up looking like the Gardner, that concrete would be falling down. You'd be plowing, you couldn't work when it's snowing or raining out. And they told me it's probably equal or less expensive to tunnel underground, that you're working around the clock, 365, without any weather issues, and not to mention maintaining it 365 days a year. So it all weighs out, and we're going to continue sitting down and getting informed on what the best decision is. And everything's on the table. But no matter if it's the 407 or making sure that we look at a cost of doing this tunnel. And then on top of it, we need to run transit. My question is, I have the chart, I'll pull it up on my phone. Why are we the most expensive in the world to build a damn tunnel? Why can Spain do it 1/5 the cost, and all the countries that are listed, it's a fraction of the cost? Why is it so expensive? So we have to sit down and drill down. They have to explain, why is everything up here 3-4 times the cost when other people around the world are building it? Now, if we can save tens of billions of dollars, we'll use workers here, but other people might have to build it, because the cost is crazy that some of these tunnels are costing us.
So just to clarify then, you are walking back what you said that day, which is that you'll build it no matter what the feasibility study says. You might be at that it's not feasible. Is that
Jeff,
possible?
I'm not walking back anything. We're getting it done. Sooner than later, we're getting it done. And then people will be able to get home sooner, or maybe have a little fun, sit in the sun, whatever they want to do. But it's all about getting people moving from point A to point B and getting goods to market as soon as possible. If we just sit back and do absolutely nothing and just say that's it, let people sit there in traffic all day long, who cares? It's costing us $11 billion. That's the worst decision. Even if we do a little bit at a time and keep the machines on the ground, that's what we should be doing. Never ever stop building. Never ever stop drilling.
Hi, Premier. Good morning. Barbara with QP Briefing.
Hi, Barbara.
I wanted to ask you about homeless encampments, and Mayor Chow, if you want to share your thoughts on this as well. The Ontario big city mayors are considering a motion asking both the federal and the provincial governments to give municipalities the power to deal with these encampments as they find appropriate. Pretty much they are saying they need more help to dismantle these encampments and shift the people living there to supportive housing. What do you think of this request, and will the province be on board with this plan?
I think it's a great request. I've had an opportunity to speak to a lot of the large city mayors. There's 21 of them, and I haven't talked to all of them, but I'll tell you, they're all fed up, and all the power to them. However we can help them, that'd be great. But let's look for root cause, right? We need to shelter these people. Once they get in a shelter and they're healthy, then we can get them gainful employment, and they get on their feet and they start moving forward like everyone else. Do you know what's tougher than even what they're facing? Imagine coming to a country, you don't know the language, you've landed here, and you're having a real tough time. That's a challenge, but guess what? There's millions of people in this province that have done exactly that, have come with nothing but the clothes on their back. They work their backs off, save enough money to get a rental property, live there, and eventually save money and buy a home. There's millions of stories like that.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
I support the big city mayor's caucus in their request. I am on their WhatsApp group, OBCM 2024, and I'm very familiar with the challenges everyone is facing, whether it's London, Ottawa, Toronto, Mississauga. Just the encampments is a cause of, because we have a housing crisis, as I answered the other question earlier. To stay in a shelter is about $7,000 a month in terms of the cost, whereas the housing benefits supporting folks that are homeless to find a place, or they might be in a shelter of their own, that they could have permanent residence, is only about $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. So it's actually financially and more effective, and also much better for people to be in a home, not in a shelter. People don't want to be camping. They don't want to be outside. They don't want to be soaking wet or cold or very hot. They don't, that's not, or not safe, because they don't have a place for their possessions, right? They don't have place. And some of the neighborhoods are being impacted tremendously because of the encampment. So it's best interest for us to deal with this crisis. Yes, we need support from both the federal and the provincial government. And the Canada-Ontario Housing Benefit Program, unfortunately, needs to be renewed every year, and that renewal process takes a long time. In the meantime, while the renewal is going on, 6 months, we can't house people that way through a rent supplement, which is a lot cheaper, $1,000 a month rather than $6,000 or $7,000 a month. So the Big City Mayor Caucus is asking both the provincial and the federal government to work with us. We are the ones that deal with it, and we need support, we need help. And what's encouraging is that it's happening. And as I just said, as of October 1st, as of last Friday, City of Toronto received a letter from the federal and the provincial government saying that the housing benefits for this year, 2024, will continue. But hopefully we won't face the same problem in end of March of 2025. Let's make it a program that works for everyone in an ongoing way so we don't end up wasting a lot of time while people are camping outside.
Okay. Thank you. Back to the Premier. There is also, in their motion, the mayors are also asking for updates to the Mental Health Act, pretty much to enforce mandatory treatment for those people with severe addiction and mental health issues. Is this something your government would consider?
We're looking at it. I know my minister, Michael Tabolo, is a big fan of it, but we have to look into it pretty deep. So I'm always open to any idea.
This will be the last reporter.
Good morning, Premier Mike Walker, CTV
Hey, Mike.
News.
How you doing?
Just coming back to the feasibility study for the tunnel under the 401.
Yeah.
If that study comes back and indicates it's going to cost more to build the tunnel than buy back the 407, would you consider buying back the 407?
Well, let's look at the feasibility study first. Let's see what they have to say. Let's look at the 407 as well. All options are on the table. Let's look at both options as well, because we know that the 407 is going to be totally jammed in the next 20 years. But let's look at all options. What bothers me, just imagine, many years ago, if we didn't sell the 407 off for, what was it, $2 or $3 billion? Now it's, what is it, worth $30 billion or somewhere around there? Anyways, let's look at all options. We're doing everything, folks. Let's take a look at what we're doing. We're building the largest transit project in North America. We're spending 3-to-1 on transit versus roads and highways. We're expanding highways and roads and bridges. We're trying to handle the capacity that we see on the 401, 400 QEW series highways. So, man, we're moving, and all three levels of government that I love are collaborating. Look we have three governments all working together, all different political stripes. The blue stripe's the best, folks, just to let you know. But anyways, in saying that, we're all working together, and that was a joke, by the way. We're all working together very, very well, and we'll just keep moving forward. We have one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects in the world, in the entire world. So kudos to all the hardworking folks that are doing it, and I just appreciate everything. So thank you.
And just following up on today's announcement with this milestone, you have a target completion date of 2031, if I understand correctly. Given what we're seeing with the LRT projects along Eglinton and Finch and the challenges there and the scope of this project, how confident are you that this deadline for this project will be met? Is there anything else in light of what has happened with those projects that your government's doing to hold these consortiums accountable? Yeah, well, another good question. Again, I think we're moving forward. There may always be hiccups, but it's how we resolve the hiccups and the problems working collaboratively together. That's what we have to do. Really good things are going to happen when everything is complete. As the mayor mentioned, there's over 230,000 people are going to have butts on the seats of subways opposed to in the car, creating more emissions.
So on all fronts, no matter if it's environmental or economic or getting people home sooner, it's all good. But I just want to thank everyone involved. And there's thousands and thousands of people that are working on all the projects on infrastructure. We're very grateful. If you're a young person, you need a job, get into skilled trades. It's a great career, and we need you. So I just want to thank everyone. I want to thank my great colleagues, federal colleagues and municipal colleagues. I'm very grateful for the collaboration, and we're going to get it done as sure as we're talking to you. And we are getting it done. So thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. This concludes today's press conference.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.